Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent plans to save the US economy, explained in under 2 minutes.
Hey, so I'm an economist, and I'm excited to see how we're going to save the economy. The video was 4 minutes, though, not 2. Let's see how the rest of it goes.
The debt is getting bigger all the time. When you spend more than your revenues, that is called a budget deficit.
The United States now has an annual $2 trillion.
Grow the economy. Now, you don't grow an economy by increasing taxes.
Now, this is often true in the short run. If we're worried about a recession, you would want to do tax cuts, not tax increases. But the thing is, tax cuts lower revenues and increase deficits. This analysis comes from the Center for Responsible Budgeting, noting that the bill currently at the Senate will increase the debt to GDP ratio up to 200% by 2055, as compared to current law, which only increases it to 155%. The Senate bill is a massive increase in the deficit, larger than the COVID-era programs and the 2017 cut all combined. But what about the economic growth that will be caused from these tax cuts? More investment, more spending leads to more jobs. It's not that much. These tax cuts don't pay for themselves. You can't find any economist that's not on some partisan payroll who will find that result. And the tax foundation is historically conservative leaning. Here is the effect that they find for the increased GDP growth. It offsets the increase of trillions of dollars of deficits by merely 16%. We're still going to get a lot of new deficit from this.
Secondly, we've got to cut interest rates. That makes the debt interest payment in the future more sustainable.
The only way we're going to cut interest rates is if inflation has shown to completely stabilize back to normal. However, the large increase in tariffs are going to do the opposite of that. The most recent estimate of that shows that it will increase additional inflation by 2 percentage points. Another option on the table, of course, is to get rid of an independent Federal Reserve. But if we do that, then we end up with higher levels of inflation in the long run and more economic suffering for the American people.
Then Co-President Musk comes into play. You got to cut the spending, right? You got to sack all those consultants.
Look, nobody likes government waste. If we could fire enough consultants to fix the government debt, I would be in favor of it myself. But so far, we have zero evidence that DOGE is making any deficit reduction meaningful cuts. This is from Forbes magazine. The DOGE saving tracker deletes more of their claims. DOGE originally claimed that they cut $55 billion worth of spending, but on closer inspection, it is closer to $2 billion. Remember how big our deficit was? $2 trillion. We would need 1,000 more of these. And look, you don't have to believe the media headlines. You can look at the Treasury spending data yourself and look at 2025 spending. There, the purple line is at the same levels that we saw in 2023 and in 2024. There are no visible cuts in spending so far.
You slap a load of tariffs on foreign countries that aren't paying their fair share.
So, to be clear, the burden of the tariff tax is felt by the American economy, not by foreign economies. A recent paper found that the tariff incident has fallen in a large part on U.S. firms. But sure, it's a tax, and taxes do raise revenues. Recently, the Budget Lab estimated how much it would raise, and it's on the order of a couple $1 trillion spread out over the next 10 years. However, it's not enough to even pay for the tax cuts. In other words, taking both these things into account, we are still increasing the deficit, not shrinking it. And this is assuming a couple of good things. It's assuming we're not going to have a recession caused from these tariffs. Considering the past 2 days were in the 99.9% of worst 2-day stock market period since 1929, things are not looking so hopeful. We have erased an entire 12 months of stock market gains. And remember, a stock market is a bet about the future. If the stock market believed that there's short-term pain and even greater long-term pain, stocks would be going up right now. They wouldn't be going down. Speaking of the stock market, when was the last time the United States closed the budget deficit? It was in the late 90s. And how were stocks doing in the late 90s? They were doing amazing. Some may say irrationally exuberantly so. The opposite of what we have now. And like, bro, we can disagree, and I always have respect for that, but your pinned video says the United States just went into a recession. When was that? Oh, your video is at the beginning of August 2024. What has happened in the economy in the 6 months since? That's right. It kept growing. 3%, 2.5% in Q4. No recession happened. You were wrong then. I don't blame you for being wrong. Everyone makes mistakes, but if it were me, I wouldn't keep the video pinned.